Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I had to do this in honor of the fact that school started. I had to get in my school desk and come over here and say that on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock when I ran the open mic, the Cafe Gallery, which I feel terrible that I had to give up to Dave Getchick when I moved to Austin, that I had to run from 7 to 9 o'clock. And sometimes at 7, poets wouldn't be there right away. And so, until there were enough people for an open mic, 10, 20 minutes, I would read poetry from a recently released Scars Publications book. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Even when the audience was low, I've got one person right now. Hello. I've got one person going live with me watching. And it's sometimes the audience is low and then more people would build and then the open mic would start. But I would read material from a recently released book. So what I thought I'd do for you is read select poems from the back two sections of this cc&d 2019 mammoth massive collection book called Among the Debris. It contains not only issues but also chapbooks and retro issues, because cc&d offers people in older issues, if they wanted to have it re-released in Amazon form so they could have a nice newer version of a book, we would do that. And we had a couple of retro issues that were appearing in this as well. And I believe one person who runs a radio show off of New York was saying it's probably one of the best volumes that he's ever received or read, which was the biggest honor. I'm sorry. It's really cool to hear, to get positive feedback from people about books. So I thought I would read select poems from two different sections in the back of this book. There are two sections. The first one is from the Night Sky section, which is a bunch of poems that talk about astronomy and the like. That was in a live show in Texas. So I will go through a few of these poems for you. This first one is called Where We've Been and What We've Seen. I have journeyed around the world with you, and after all I've seen, I'm now an observer, an astronomer looking out into the universe, out past the solar system, past the Kuiper belt, trying to understand what makes everything, everything. I fly in airplanes, I jump from airplanes, I pilot airplanes, getting closer to the stars. Molecule by molecule, we originate from the stars, and we're all linked, our bodies formed from stardust. But outer space is a violent place. Violent explosions create the stars, and our Earth has earthquakes, avalanches, volcanoes, El Niños, tornadoes, tsunamis, typhoons, and in all of this madness, somehow I found you. With you, I've watched the solar storms from the Arctic Circle's aurora borealis. We've even seen it dance over Greenland from our window 40,000 feet in the sky. I've seen galaxies collide. I've seen comets splash into planets. I've seen supernova in the depths of stars. And in all of that, I still found you. As I said before, I'm only an observer. But I've found what I've been looking for. And with these observations, I thee wed. And I'll tighten my grip on your hand when we travel into the night together. Aw, sorry. I have to do a kissy for the love interest in that poem. I hope they're watching and I hope they're enjoying that. After that, I'm going to follow it up with the second poem I ever wrote. So I wrote it in class. And it's called Moonlight. Moonlight is a hypnotist, putting people in a trance. Whenever you look at it, it takes over your soul. No one can stop it, but no one wants to. The next one, I'm going to skip once here, and I'm going to go to a 2019 edit of the poem Orion, which in the springtime you could see outside of our window right here, but it's a bit overcast right now and not quite dark enough. This is Orion. Winter evenings, I would look for you, dancing along the horizon. You were always my favorite. You were always fighting the great bear to the north, the bull in the winter. You were my favorite. Whenever I could, I would look for you out my window, in my driveway. I remember a nebula lived in the center of your sword. You spending millennia fighting. You have taught me well. The other night I looked out my window again. You were there, maybe receiving strength from me, as I did so many years in you. This next one, which one should I go to? I think I'll go to this one, called Envision It in the Night Sky. It occurred to me that when you see stars in constellations in the night sky, those stars are not right next to each other. The closest star to our own is 100 light years away. I mean, there's an entire nebula representing one of the stars in the sword of Orion. If you moved away from our planet, the whole concept of constellations as we know it would be lost. Nothing in the universe would appear as we envision it in the night sky. Okay, so I have to do this. This is selected poem from the poem Universe, now in color. Images we see from Hubble, mind-boggling colors from galaxy clusters and nebulas. Those images come in all digital, a series of ones, a series of zeros. And there's no color in the images at all. Astronomers describe outer space as an amazingly vast black void. So when people get the data from these images, they imagine the heat radiating from these objects, and they think about what colors work best for the images. I know these images in outer space are beautiful, but I didn't know they were literally an art form. Hubble takes pictures of objects in space with different filters to capture light rays human eye can't even see. So when we get final full-color images from Hubble, they are nothing like what the universe really is. So maybe outer space and astronomy really is abstract art. Which is a nice thing to think about if you're going to be a poet, right? I think so. Let's see what other ones. I think, just for the heck of it, I think I'm going to skip out of that section. We've had enough of astronomy stuff. I'm going to give you two poems from the public access poetry section of poems that were performed on a live television show. Well, it wasn't live, it was recorded, but it has run multiple times in Texas, and it was through public access TV. And I'm going to share with you two poems from that, two more, and then we're done. This first one is called Beauty in the Eyes of Einstein. I heard NASA scientists say that Einstein dismissed some of his theories, even some theories we may know all too well. But Einstein didn't like some of his theories because he thought they weren't beautiful. And I wonder, what is beauty? Is it the geomagnetic aberrations of the aurora borealis dancing along the horizon in the Arctic Circle? Is it the way you look at me with those gorgeous doe eyes when we've been apart so long? Is it the scattered collisions from Comet Shoemaker leaving 9 into the planet Jupiter? Is it what I feel when your arms are finally around me and I don't want to open my eyes and I never want to let go? Is it the eternally changing wisps of volcanic trails from the Saturn, Moon, Titan's atmosphere? Is it the way that listening to the music you make fills me with such energy? Or is it converting matter with just the right formula into pure energy? Einstein believed, quote, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all art and literature." So am I driven to look up at the stars in the night sky to see stars from billions of years ago, to fall in love every night? Einstein reminds us we are all ruled in what we do by impulse. So Is it how on impulse I move a bit closer to you so I can feel the heat from your body so close to mine? We ask, what is beauty? They say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it makes me wonder. I'm trying to give you guys good final pieces for this. This will be the last poem from this book reading for you from the Cafe Gallery 2020 book reading series. Thank you all for listening. This last poem is a good ender. It's called And I'm Wondering. And I'm wondering if there's something chemical that brings people together. There's something that brings people to their knees. Something that sucks them in. And I'm wondering if you're sensing what I'm sensing. Is this just me? Am I making this all up in my head? Or when I glance up and I catch your eyes, well, are you actually staring at me? And I'm wondering if it could work out this time, if we'd have one of those relationships that no one ever doubts, especially us, because we know we'll always be in love. And I'm wondering why, if you'd find my neurotic pet peeves charming, like how I hate it when somebody touches my belly because I'm so self-conscious. And I'm wondering why you had to tell me when we happened to be sitting next to each other, the fact that our legs was almost touching was making your heart race. And I'm wondering why I felt the need to take your cigarette and inhale, exhale, while the filter was still warm from your lips there just seconds before. And I'm wondering if a year or two from now, after we've been going out and we should have been bored with each other and sunk into this comfortable rut, if you saw me making macaroni and cheese in the kitchen using margarine and water because I don't have any milk and I've got my hair pulled back and strands are falling into my eyes and I'm wearing an oversized button-down denim shirt and nothing else, well, what I'm wondering is if you would see me like this and still think I was sexy. When I glance up and I catch your eyes, and when I catch your eyes from across the room, when I see your eyes dart away, when I feel this chemical reaction, well, what I'm wondering is, do you feel it too? Public access poetry. That was the absolute last poem in this book. Among the Debris, it's an expanded issue collection book from cc&d magazine from the end of 2019. There are new issue collection books out in the beginning of 2020 that maybe I might share some with you, with you in upcoming weeks, because it's now like 7:20, so that's probably about the time when there'll be enough people showing up in an open mic that I have to say, okay, we're going to be starting the open mic now, so I'm going to have to close my readings. Sorry, you guys. But I will make this a weekly installment for you guys. I want to thank everyone for staying poetically active and staying positive in these times when we're all stuck in a house and can't go out to open mics. I want you to stay safe. I want you all to stay poetically inclined. And I want everyone to remember when they're out there and they feel alone that you are loved. Remember that, please. And I look forward to sharing poetry with you in the near future and having more installments of the Cafe Gallery 2020 Poetry Reading Series. Stay safe, and thank you all so very much for listening. As I lift up my chair, thank you all so very much for listening, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Thank you very much.